Welcome to the Time to Talk podcast. It's time to talk. Diddy. So much other things going on right now in the world. Do we really need the distraction? Is it all a distraction? We got Iran bombing Israel yesterday. Only a couple more weeks before we've got a major election, which might shake the very core of our democracy in the world. We got a strike by dock workers, longshoremen, that threatens to affect our supply chain. And our New York City mayor was indicted last week. All right? But this case, these latest updates are more than trending news. They're not minor revelations in an ongoing case. This is huge news. If you didn't know, if you don't already know, Tuesday, Texas-based attorney Tony Busby announced that he's representing 120 clients, victims, with allegations against the entertainment mogul that occurred over 20 years. Quote, "We will expose the enablers who enabled this conduct behind closed doors. We will pursue this matter no matter who the evidence implicates. Many powerful people, many dirty secrets," the lawyer said of his allegations. His team has collected pictures, videos, and text. Now, here's the thing. The pictures, video, and text thing is still very much, I'm sure everybody who's reporting on this story, everyone who's thinking about this story, everybody who is listening to these videos and podcasts on the story, where are these videos? Where are these pictures? Because by now, the level of lock and key, the level of efforts that have been utilized, employed to keep this stuff suppressed, to keep this thing out of the media by now. I made mention a while ago, I think, when the allegations first came up, I talked about the idea that, if there's videotape of all these freak-offs and all this sexual activity, that stuff does not stay hidden for long. Everyone knows. You can't even do sex tapes nowadays. You can't even do a little fun at home. You just can't, for fear of these things being leaked, because we live in a digital world. We live in a world where it's just easy nowadays to just let something leak out there. And once it's out there, it's out there. So I'm not sure. Now, we did see how the Cassie tape, the horrendous tape where he's whooping her, that was suppressed for 10 years? We didn't get a chance to see that someone got a hold of that security footage. That's slightly different, only because whoever got paid or however the security handled that, they were able to lock down that one, probably what was a physical tape, I would imagine at that time. And it got locked down, I guess. There was no copies made. It wasn't digitized, or perhaps it was. I don't know. But enough people were paid. Enough people kept that one thing quiet. But sexual tapes, all of these things, you have to imagine how many people may have vendettas, may have gripes, grudges, even before all these charges came up, even before Diddy went down. Think of how many people might have had an axe to grind with him. Think of how many people, just for the sake of getting a payday, could have taken footage and already released it, leaked it. Think of how many people in his own team, in his own staff, in his own parties, in his own residences could have very well, by now, leaked some of this stuff in their own interest. But yet, we haven't seen any. But anyway, I digress. Let's get back into it, regarding whatever. But anyway, Busby added that the allegations will include violent sexual assault or rape, facilitated sex with a controlled substance, dissemination of video recordings, and sexual abuse of minors. Among this new group of accusers, Busby said, 62% identify as African American, 30% white, and they hail from more than 25 states, with the majority of New York, California, Georgia, and Florida. Busby said that 25 of the accusers were minors at the time these incidents allegedly occurred, between 1991 and 2024. Now, so far, Combs has denied all claims against him, calling them sickening allegations, as they are actually, from people looking for a quick payday, right? And I'm pretty sure he said the same thing with the Cassie suit when she filed her civil suit, right? She was looking for a payday. And there were many people who speculated that it was possible. Hey, people have grudges and axes to grind, and they look for their payday and, whatever. But again, we all saw the tape. That pretty much confirmed everything as far as I'm concerned. That confirmed what kind of, heathen this guy is, what kind of animal he is. We saw that. So This idea he's going to maintain his innocence, and all these people are looking for a payday. Now look, let's keep it real. Actually, you know what? Let me. Before I even get into the let's keep it real portion of Let's Talk and me discussing some of the my thoughts on how many people are going to come out of the woodwork looking for a payday, and this whole idea that people would be doing such, let me just go a little bit further into the details here. Let me just go over, some of Busby's statements and some of the things that he said. Now, he said many powerful people will be exposed. Quote, naming names, the day will come and the names will shock you. These names will be revealed when the cases are filed. Now, he's claiming that the cases should be filed within the next 30 days. He also goes on to say, quote, they know who they are and they are facilitators of foul play. Quote, myriad of people who are worried and probably erasing text right now. In other words, a whole bunch of people out there, inside industry folks, entertainment folks, big celebrity names are going to be dropped. Now again, as I said at the top of this, the whole idea of pictures and videos, and we're still kind of waiting. It's like this carrot and stick thing. Like, okay, when are we going to see this? Where is that proof going to come from? Not that anyone. Let me just to not be mistaken. Not that anyone's looking to, especially considering how heinous some of these allegations are. That a lot of these tapes and stuff, or the evidence, might actually have minors, right? I don't think anyone's looking for that. I think it's more about confirming the evidence, or sort of saying, look, a lot of this is speculative at this point. But once you, again, like the Cassie tape, once that came into play and that got into the conversation and that was available for all to see, the idea that there was some conspiracy against Diddy, against the black man, quickly went out the door, as far as I'm concerned. I mean, there are still people who hang on to the idea that he's being framed and it's all a setup and whatever. But we watched him whoop this woman's ass. So that was not a setup, unless it was an AI Diddy running through the hall acting like an animal, treating her like that. That's bullshit. All right? But, again, these names, people are waiting on these names. People are speculating on their podcasts. They're speculating on all these. I've seen plenty, Jay-Z's going to go down. He's next. What about this one? What about that one? First of all, I stay away from that, because my whole thing, I'm not trying to look for my black heroes, celebrities, successful brothers and sisters in my community, successful people of the industry. I'm not looking for them to go down. I'm not hoping, I'm not sitting here speculating, waiting for them to go down. Oh, I never liked him anyway. I'm not doing that. Even the people I don't like, I wouldn't do that for. I do not want to see that. But people speculate that all these people, Jay's got to be part. No, I don't think so. Jay has always elevated himself above the average masses and above the average people that surrounded him, because everyone that surrounded him was average or less. So I don't think Jay-Z got caught up in any of this. And Jay-Z got married to a solid black woman and has been doing this thing, raising a family. All right, that's just buying artwork and being a billionaire. I really do not think. I hope that's not the case. There's probably a bunch of other people involved in this. But anyway, this suit is also going to name corporate entities as well. So banks, hotels, pharma companies. He is going after everyone. He might as well go after like Uber drivers and limo drivers and private plane companies that picked up these women and men, the pilots, who knows. But it is all coming down. So the MO was that the victims, the guests, were basically handed drinks that were laced with drugs, and that was part of the admission process, taking a drink. And if you were there and you didn't take the drink, you got booted out of the party. You weren't allowed in the party. 90% of the cases, the victims were drugged, according to Busby, and it was a drug called xylazine or trank, which was found in their systems. It's a horse tranquilizer of sorts. It's a non-opioid sedative. Fentanyl mixed with xylazine is known as a street name called sleep cut or a zombie drug. It was made by Bayer back in 1962. Now, in doing some research on this, I found that currently trank does not show up on a routine drug test or toxicology screens used to detect opioids or other street drugs. A doctor would need to use other methods of detailed screenings or blood work to detect the traces of that drug in a person's system. So it kind of has me wondering how it was found out by the legal team or the police or hospitals or whomever did any type of testing on victims at the time of reporting these incidences, how they were able to find that this drug, where we get that from? If you have severe skin lesions, your doctor will do a skin biopsy. They'll remove a sample of your affected skin tissue and test it under a microscope to see what's causing it. And they can also do a wound culture, which involves taking a swab of your wound to check the germs that might be causing an infection. The tests that can detect TRANK are like thin layer chromatography and gas chromatography and mass spectrometry. Now, I want to do some further research on this, but it seems to me that might be a bit more speculative at this point, right? I mean, it would seem likely that, yes, this would probably be the drug used to sedate victims. And the fact that it's not detectable via a standard drug test, that would make it much more likely that Diddy and his company and anyone else wanting to drug people for whatever purposes, they would actually use this drug. From a legal perspective, I'm just wondering how Busby has made the claim, the accusation that there's been drug testing and that this was the drug that was found. Because if we have a situation, we have a victim who, let's say, does report something to the authorities, let's say goes to the police station or goes to the hospital for whatever reason, after being an alleged victim of Diddy or someone in his entourage or whatever, the other facilitators of foul play. If they did that and then they were drug tested, they wouldn't find this stuff. You'd have to do other things, as I just noted. You'd go through all these other means to actually identify that you might have had this drug in your system. So I'm not sure where the attorney's getting at, but we'll see how it plays out. Okay, let's get into some of the victim statements, the allegations, and what they say happened to them. This is pretty disturbing. So if you don't want to hear stuff like that, then whatever. I'm not going to be graphic about it, but I just want to. I do want to talk about it because I just figured it was just whoa. I was like, all right, but anyway. Busby claims that these violations, abuses, rapes, etc., took place usually at New Year's Eve parties, after parties, all-white parties, his 4th of July party, and auditions. So people trying to get in the industry. One example, a 9-year-old was taken to an audition wanting a record deal and was abused by Diddy and others in exchange for such deal. Another victim, Diddy promised to make the victim a star and then had him perform. I'm not even going to repeat it. Another victim, female, flown to New York City, picked up, drugged, raped by Diddy and several other men, according to the allegation. Another was picked up, given a drink, woke up the next day with sores, being sore, not knowing what had happened the night prior. Another attended a group dinner. A woman that was pregnant, didn't really want to drink, was given one anyway, and then she passed out and woke up the next day with being sore. Another was picked up, asked if she wanted to go to a party, got to the party, pretended to drink, and then doesn't remember the rest. Now they found cocaine and trank in her system. Again, just for clarity here, the detection of trank, I want to research some more just to see how that was concluded. But I mean, this is that's all I'm going to say. 120 cases. Now, according to Busby, there were 3,200 calls or people alleging to have been victims, right? They have to vet those people. They have to go through the process of determining who's full of dog doo-doo and who's not, like who has substantial evidence of some type that would basically prove that, through text messaging exchanges, possibly through Uber receipts and records and email records and receipts and possible photographic evidence, whatever they have, to prove that, hey, yeah, I was at a Diddy party. Because going back to my earlier thing, like just keeping it real, when I wanted to say that earlier, was you're going to have any female or male in the history of Diddy parties, and I've been to, not parties at the hot, but I've been to clubs where there was a party, it was Diddy, and I've been to Justin's, his restaurant that he opened on 21st Street in New York. We used to frequent it all the time. But think about this. Anybody who's been to a party of his and had a drink can now legitimately, should I say legitimately, or they could technically That's the correct word. Because whether it's legit or not is something else. But you could say, I was at the white party in the Hamptons in 1997, 1998. Yeah, I was there. Got invited by such and such who knew such and was a PR person for such, and I was at the party. Had a couple drinks. Oh man, the next day I woke up, I didn't feel so well, and I was sore. I should file a suit. It's possible. There are going to be people who showed up to Diddy parties, who hung in that circle, who were Diddy mansions, who were at Diddy venues and different things, after parties, who willingly were doing things. There are women and men who were willingly doing things, who don't drink at all and don't do any drugs, who probably just had a great time hanging out and wanted to do certain things, who can now actually file a suit and say, yeah, I was doing this and doing that, right? Or kind of embellish it a little bit. That can happen. This is a real tricky situation for the legal team, for this Busby guy. I feel like his press conference at times seemed like a commercial. Like, have you been to a Diddy party? Did you drink at that party? Did you wake up the next day and feel sore? You may be entitled to compensation. That's the way that press conference came off sometimes. I think overall it was more disturbing, and I'm not just to be clear here, I'm not making light of the victims who have come forward and their allegations and their pain and suffering, whatever took place. It needs to be played out from a legal perspective. It needs to go through the court process, and it has to happen, it sooner than later, I would imagine. I'm just pointing out that, for all those people, there are going to be those, less than legitimate folks who are going to be looking for a payday. It's going to happen. But this is really bad. And Puffy apparently put together a ridiculous legal team. He's trying to, where's Johnny Cochran when you need him? Rest in peace, brother. But, he's looking he put a legal team together that's going to try to get his bail situation taken care of. Again, he's going to try, request to, the whole detention thing. We shall see what happens. This is just getting worse by the minute. And I almost, I had reservations about even talking about it. Part of me wanted to simply say, what, do I talk about it? Do I not talk about it? But then I saw that conference and I saw this guy and listened to what was happening. I said, this is not a small thing. This guy is, here's the one of the mugshots, I assume. But is he wearing earrings in that mugshot? Does it look like Diddy's wearing earrings? It looks like he's wearing earrings. I don't know. I don't know if that's the official mugshot, if that's been released, but it looks like he's still wearing diamond earrings in that. That would seem highly unlikely, but yeah. The thing that's really sad here is the idea of the whole thing with the minors, right? Because that and the idea that there's these other people involved and there are other big people who in the industry who participated in some of this, really just, I don't know. And there's Jay and Ye and Pharrell and Diddy, right? Are any of the other three there? Have they been involved? Again, I personally don't. I don't think Ye and I don't think Jay. I don't know about Pharrell, but I don't know. The other thing here that's, again, going back to the minor thing, it's really disturbing is the whole thing with Bieber, right? These videos, Bieber and Usher, and considering these were like minors, they were children at the time. And you've got videos where this man is luring them with, Lamborghinis and homes. There's a whole video where he's telling him like, oh yeah, this will be yours one day. You'll have the Lamborghini and you'll have this and you'll have that. And, just, it's disgusting. It's disgusting on every single level. And there's nothing, I wonder what will come out eventually, if ever, anything from Bieber or Usher or any of these young men who clearly must have had relations of some type with this man and with others probably. I don't know. The price that they paid for their fame and for their wealth and their notoriety and all the luxuries that come, the Faustian bargains that they have made. their lives. These are iconic industry vets at this point. These are not even like new stars. They've been around for years, but what price did they pay to get there? How many others paid that price? It's just shocking. It is shocking. It is sad. And I think something else to be said is that it would appear that Diddy is taking the brunt of an entire industry and culture, right? This cult that exists in Hollywood and the entertainment industry, the music business, music specifically in the Diddy case. But it seems that he's taking, because to me this is bigger than Weinstein. The Weinstein case was at the height of the Me Too movement. Weinstein, the creepy producer guy, the casting couch situation. Hey, come to my penthouse. We'll talk about the script. That's who that was. And this man was, famously, and plenty of people knew it, which makes it even more creepy. Like, how many people knew that he was that dude and just didn't care? Then how many of your favorite celebrities actually, and I'm talking females specifically in this case, how many of them actually did get with Weinstein to get their careers and get where they are? That are just mum about it because they got what they wanted out of it? I don't know, right? But that case next to Diddy, the Diddy thing is far worse because it just goes deep on so many levels. The fact that it's minors, it's not just women. The fact that it's minors, the fact that the sex trafficking, the fact that there's drinks that are laced with drugs, all of these things, it's just bad. And I wonder, obviously the Epstein connection, we can see that whole thing. I wonder how long Diddy stays alive. I wonder. And I wonder how this has gotten to the point now where he's still alive. I'm surprised he's not dead already. The Epstein situation, which is disturbing because Epstein definitely eclipsed this probably, right? And it was minors, and it was just disgusting. And there's politicians, high-level people involved in that. And even though he was killed, they say he committed suicide, but even though we all know he was killed, how does that end the actual case, right? Like, how does that end the idea that there were several high-profile people involved in dealing with these minor women and Epstein Island, all these different things that took place over the years, and the sex tapes and blackmail? How did that all just go away because he was killed? It's totally different to say, we're going to get rid of the witness, right? Like you do in like a mob film. Like, we're going to get rid of the witness so he can't testify. You didn't see anything, all right? Great. That's one witness. But Epstein, the trail that was left behind and the amount of people he was connected with, how does all that investigation and everything just fold upon his death? It's not like we were just waiting for his testimony. And Ghislaine Maxwell, who's going to be out in, 20 years or even less at this point, shouldn't she be rotting even longer? And shouldn't there be some idea of having her compelled to produce a list? Where is this list? It just seems to have disappeared. Now, in Diddy's case, it seems as if they're looking to get it out there. And according to this Busby guy, in the next 30 days or so, we're going to know names. Big people, too. That's the thing. The way it was spoken about, it was not like, a couple people. It was like big people. There was another victim that actually came forward and apparently has videotape evidence, and the person on the actual tape with Diddy and the alleged victim is huge, even bigger than Diddy. Who is this person? When does that get released? Are people scrambling? Does offing Diddy help the situation? Are there people right now saying, hey, look, you got to get rid of this guy. Hey, we got to figure out how to get to this guy. Does that help the situation? Does that clear all the evidence? I don't think so. Because even if they off him, if there's all these tapes and recordings, physical evidence in digital format, that still implicates and still basically puts these other people at risk. This is crazy. Sometimes I get whatever, even trying to talk about it, just because there's just so much happening here, and it seems to me that in my gut, it's like, well, is it celebrity news? Is it kind of like cheesy? Is this some trending topic? But it's not. This is probably the most major celebrity criminal and civil cases in the history of our time. This is huge. This is not small. This is not small. And that man is definitely gone for life. I don't see any way out of this at all. I just don't see it. And I am very objective and very legal-minded when it comes to these cases. I have discussed this before. I have said things early in the beginning when it first happened to him that we should not rush to judgment and automatically put the man under the jail because we don't know things. At this point, I think it's safe to say, in my personal opinion, especially after seeing the Cassie tape, that was enough for me to put a serious. It tainted everything, and there's too much here. It's overwhelming amount of things for it to just be speculation and just be them trying to get this man, and that's it. I do believe it's possible that he pissed people off in the industry, in that cult, in that whole little thing. I believe it's possible he pissed some people off and they said, okay, you want to get big for your britches? Okay, we'll take you down. And I believe that possibly could have happened, yes. But it's his own doing. You paid the price. You made that bargain with the devil. You did what you did. You've hurt people in the wake of all of this for your own benefit and your own gratification and your own narcissism and your ego, and now you're paying the price. Perhaps you thought you never would. But anyway, that's it. That's it for me on the Diddy thing. I want to, another thing, talk about the Rescue the Republic, which I will probably talk about on another episode, maybe sometime tomorrow on Thursday or Friday. That was this past weekend, September 29th in D.C., and I attended with my son, and I was a little disappointed. I didn't get to meet the people I wanted to meet and actually talk. I was in the press tent. I had media credentials, but I didn't have all access credentials, and I was able to, I got to meet Mike Benz, who I was very excited to meet. He's one of the people on the list who I wanted to meet. If you don't know who Mike Benz is, I suggest you go onto X, go onto YouTube and look up Mike Benz. Incredible mind and deep well of information when it comes to the State Department, CIA, Pentagon, the blob, as he calls it, and all the activities taking place behind the scenes when it comes to government and CIA agencies that are out there working in the interest of the deep state. So Mike Benz, one of my favorite people in that space, got to meet and hang out with him for a second. Didn't get to come across Russell Brand, Jordan Peterson, Matt Taibbi, who I was really looking forward to meet, probably the most out of everyone, Taibbi and Brand, and Walter Kern. And I didn't get to see these guys, and they didn't come into the media tent, and I couldn't stay there all day. This event went from 12 to 7. I was there early. I ended up doing, I did an interview with ABC. So I was also there to do an interview with ABC, or I should say ABC was interviewing me regarding the event and regarding the upcoming election. So I'll keep you posted on that, and I'll put that on my social media as well. But I want to talk more about the overall, the event itself and the meaning of it and its effectiveness, its efficacy, and my personal thought on what I think it's going to do and not do, how successful it was and wasn't. But we'll get into that on another episode. What else? That's it. The Diddy thing. If you got thoughts, let me know in the comments below. Let me know what's going on with you guys. I'd like to hear it. I'd love to hear from you guys. Just tell me what's happening and how you think this whole thing plays out and what worries you the most about it all. If you haven't subscribed, definitely subscribe. Like the video. I truly appreciate that. I'm growing, trying to get the channel bigger. Takes a little bit of time. I appreciate you staying with me. I appreciate your comments below. And I'll see you on the next Time to Talk. Peace.